Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? Hello, and welcome back to our channel for another deep dive into the thrilling, unpredictable world of Genoa City. Today is a beautiful day to unravel the darkest secrets, the most heartbreaking betrayals, and the shocking twists that are about to shatter the lives of our favorite characters. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let us explore the explosive drama currently unfolding. The foundation of the Newman Empire has been shaken to its absolute core by an event so devastating that it threatens to permanently sever the ties of Genoa City's most iconic power couple. On the fateful day of June 23, amidst a storm of unspoken fears and rising tensions, Nikki Newman committed the unthinkable. She removed her wedding ring and handed it back to Victor. This was not merely a gesture of marital frustration, but a desperate, agonizing deflection designed to push the love of her life as far away as possible. Nikki is harboring a lethal secret, a ticking time bomb buried deep within her own mind, and she would rather destroy her marriage than allow Victor to look at her with eyes full of pity. But how long can a woman actively dying from the inside out keep the ultimate truth from a man who controls everything he touches? The unraveling of this tragic conspiracy of silence began with a seemingly innocent, accidental betrayal by the newest member of the inner circle. Victor Newman, ever the calculating patriarch, was deeply engrossed in testing Claire Grace Newman's loyalty, discussing the intricate details of establishing a brand new publishing division for Newman Enterprises. However, the conversation took a chilling turn when Claire, eager to please and entirely unaware of the catastrophic implications of her words, let slip a crucial piece of information. She casually mentioned her inability to schedule a simple lunch with Nikki because the matriarch was suffering from blinding, severe headaches and was sequestered away at a doctor's appointment. For a man like Victor, who reads the spaces between words like a predator tracking its prey, this accidental revelation was a glaring red flag. What dark medical crisis is his wife hiding, and why has his own family suddenly erected a fortress of lies to keep him completely in the dark? Behind the closed doors of the specialist's office, a horrific nightmare was unfolding that would forever alter the trajectory of the Newman family. Victoria Newman stood paralyzed by her mother's side as the harrowing diagnosis was delivered with cold, clinical precision. Nikki's excruciating headaches and terrifying bouts of blurred vision were not merely a severe flare-up of her multiple sclerosis, as everyone had desperately hoped. Instead, the doctors revealed a fast-growing, highly aggressive tumor pressing lethally against her optic nerve. The prognosis is a double-edged sword of absolute terror. If left untreated, the tumor will rapidly plunge Nikki into permanent darkness and eventually claim her life. Yet the highly complex surgery required to extract it carries the exact same risk of irreversible blindness. As Victoria watched her invincible mother crumble under the weight of this death sentence, a chilling realization washed over her. How can they possibly fight a battle of this magnitude when the patriarch of their family is being treated as the enemy? In the immediate, suffocating aftermath of the diagnosis, Nikki Newman made a decision born of fierce pride and profound psychological trauma. She turned to a weeping Victoria and forced her to swear an absolute, unbreakable vow of silence. Nikki's entire life has been defined by her strength, her elegance, and her ability to stand shoulder to shoulder with the ruthless Victor Newman. The mere thought of Victor hovering over her, his eyes dripping with suffocating pity, viewing her as a weak, broken, and dying woman, is a fate worse than the blindness itself. Nikki is acutely aware that Victor's love often manifests as tyrannical control, and in her most vulnerable hour, she is desperately clinging to her autonomy. She demands the right to face the darkness on her own terms, even if it means dying with a lie on her lips. But as the physical agony intensifies and her vision begins to fail, will Nikki's stubborn pride ultimately become the very weapon that destroys her final days with the man she loves? Desperate for a miracle, and drowning in the agonizing burden of her mother's secret, Victoria orchestrated a clandestine maneuver that pulled another innocent soul into their dark web of deception. She secretly summoned Dr. Nate Hastings, begging him to review the MRI scans and provide a second opinion, praying for a misdiagnosis. Instead, Nate's brilliant medical mind only confirmed the horrifying reality. The malignant mass is real, it is growing rapidly, and it requires immediate, aggressive intervention. Nikki, terrified and desperate, pleaded with Nate to honor her patient confidentiality and keep the grim truth entirely hidden from Victor. Nate now finds himself trapped in a suffocating ethical and personal nightmare, violently torn between his sacred medical oath, his profound loyalty to Victoria, and his terrifying awareness of Victor Newman's impending wrath. When the truth inevitably detonates, how will Nate survive the catastrophic fallout of lying to the most dangerous man in Genoa City? Victor Newman is not a man who accepts shadows in his own home, and his razor-sharp instincts immediately honed in on the weakest link in this conspiracy of silence. Armed with Claire's accidental confession and his own observations of Nikki's deteriorating physical state, Victor cornered Dr. Nate Hastings, launching a relentless, aggressive interrogation. The mustache demanded answers, his voice a low, lethal rumble as he peppered the doctor with questions about Nikki's sudden appointments and erratic behavior. Nate, sweating under the immense, crushing pressure of Victor's glare, stonewalled the patriarch, hiding behind the impenetrable shield of doctor-patient confidentiality. He deliberately concealed the lethal secret, protecting Nikki's wishes but simultaneously painting a massive target on his own back. Victor's eyes narrowed as he registered the hesitation in Nate's voice, fully realizing that the doctor was lying to his face. How long can a mere physician withstand the psychological torture and boundless resources of a billionaire who refuses to be denied the truth? While Victor circles like a shark sensing blood in the water, Nikki is quietly, devastatingly preparing for her own demise. Convinced that her time is rapidly running out, she has taken extraordinary, covert measures to ensure her legacy is protected from Victor's inevitable attempts to control the narrative after her death. In absolute secrecy, Nikki reached out to Christine Blair Romolotti, a woman who intimately understands the danger of crossing Victor Newman. Nikki demanded that Christine draft an entirely new will, restructuring her assets, her power within Newman Enterprises, and her final wishes, all while enforcing a strict, impenetrable gag order on the attorney. This dark, desperate conspiracy highlights the profound tragedy of Nikki's current existence. She is spending her precious remaining energy building legal fortresses against her own husband rather than seeking his comfort. When Victor inevitably discovers that his wife has been planning her funeral behind his back with his enemies, will his heart break, or will his legendary fury consume them all? The unbearable tension reached a catastrophic boiling point on June 23, culminating in a scene of unparalleled emotional devastation. Victor, driven mad by the invisible walls erected around his wife, confronted Nikki, demanding to know what she was hiding and why she was shutting him out. The argument escalated into a vicious, heartbreaking clash of titans, with years of unspoken resentments and current fears colliding in a spectacular explosion. Unable to bear the weight of her terminal secret and desperate to create an insurmountable distance, Nikki committed the ultimate act of marital defiance. She removed her wedding ring and shoved it back into Victor's hands. The metallic clink of the ring was a deafening death knell to their union, a calculated strike designed to make Victor believe their marriage was simply over, rather than facing the reality that her life is ending. As Victor stood there, holding the symbol of their epic love story, what dark, terrifying conclusions began to form in his brilliant, suspicious mind. If Nikki believed that returning the ring would force Victor to retreat and lick his wounds, she severely underestimated the primal, possessive nature of the man she married. Instead of accepting the heartbreak of a broken relationship, Victor's legendary paranoia ignited into a raging inferno. He knows his wife. He knows the passionate, turbulent rhythm of their love, and he knows with absolute certainty that returning the ring was a theatrical distraction. Victor realizes that this is not about Jack Abbott. This is not about their usual power struggles, and this is certainly not just a flare-up of multiple sclerosis. His wife is vanishing before his eyes, her body failing, her spirit cloaked in shadows, and his own daughter is standing guard at the gate of this terrifying secret. The realization that his entire family is actively conspiring to deceive him has triggered a dangerous, ruthless shift in Victor's psyche. What terrifying lengths will the patriarch go to when he transforms from a concerned, grieving husband into a cold, calculating predator hunting for the truth? Refusing to be a victim of his family's deceit, Victor Newman has officially launched a massive, clandestine investigation, utilizing the full, terrifying weight of his unlimited resources. He is no longer asking questions. He is extracting answers. Victor has deployed his elite network of private investigators, ordering them to track every single movement Nikki makes, to monitor her phone calls, and to shadow Victoria's every step. He is employing highly skilled hackers to bypass hospital security firewalls, determined to illegally access the deeply guarded medical records that Nate Hastings refused to provide. Victor is operating in the shadows, pulling the strings of Genoa City's underbelly to unearth the exact nature of the monster attacking his wife's brain. This dark conspiracy of espionage against his own flesh and blood showcases the terrifying paradox of Victor's love. He will violate every boundary, break every law, and destroy any semblance of trust just to protect what is his. As the digital footprints lead him closer to the horrific reality, who will be the first casualty of his relentless crusade? The net is rapidly tightening, and the walls of Victoria and Nikki's fragile fortress are beginning to crumble under the sheer force of Victor's inquisition. His operatives have already traced the specialized neurosurgeons that Victoria has been desperately contacting in secret. They have documented Nate Hastings' off-the-books visits to the Newman estate, piecing together a timeline that undeniably points to a catastrophic neurological event. Victor is meticulously assembling the puzzle, matching Claire's innocent slip about the severe headaches with the sudden, inexplicable involvement of top-tier oncology and neurology experts. Every new piece of information is a dagger to Victor's heart, fueling a dangerous mixture of profound grief and explosive, uncontrollable rage. He is realizing that the woman he loves is fighting a war for her life, and she deliberately chose to leave him on the battlefield's sidelines. When Victor finally holds the undeniable proof of the optic nerve tumor in his hands, will he unleash a storm of vengeance upon those who lied to him, or will the sheer terror of losing Nikki bring him to his knees? Meanwhile, the psychological toll of this massive deception is pushing Victoria Newman to the absolute brink of total collapse. She is carrying the agonizing, crushing weight of her mother's impending blindness and potential death, while simultaneously trying to manage the colossal operations of Newman Enterprises. Furthermore, Victoria is acutely aware that her father's operatives are circling. She can feel Victor's eyes on her, sensing his traps, knowing that he is systematically dismantling the lies she constructed to protect Nikki's pride. Victoria is trapped in a suffocating vice, forced to lie to the father she reveres, to honor the dying wishes of the mother she adores. The stress is manifesting in terrifying physical symptoms of her own, as the sheer terror of the impending confrontation with Victor looms over her like an executioner's blade. How much longer can Victoria sustain this agonizing charade before she completely shatters under the unbearable pressure of the Newman family's darkest hour? The stage is now set for a confrontation of epic, earth-shattering proportions. Victor Newman is armed with the horrifying truth. his heart breaking over Nikki's terminal diagnosis, but his ego raging over the ultimate betrayal by his daughter and his trusted physician. He is marching toward a collision with Victoria that threatens to permanently alter the landscape of their family dynamic. When Victor finally corners Victoria, presenting the stolen medical files and demanding to know why he was robbed of the chance to fight for his wife's life, the explosion will be felt across all of Genoa City. This is no longer just about a medical crisis. It is a battle for the very soul of the Newman family, a tragic exploration of pride, control, and the desperate lengths we go to for love. Will Victor's relentless pursuit of the truth ultimately save Nikki's life by forcing her to accept his help and the world's best medical care? Or will his aggressive, tyrannical intervention extinguish the final spark of her independence, destroying their epic romance forever in the shadow of this devastating disease?